Welcome back to some more Saya no Uda. And can we appreciate how peaceful the start menu music is? I mean, there's a reason why I would, put it onto this recorder around the screen right here instead of, going like straight away where all the weird, disturbing shit would be. So yeah, so the last time where we left off, there was some backstory to it for Fuminori, with his first encounter with Saya, because his condition made it so it's completely grotesque and warped that way. But the only thing that doesn't seem grotesque for his perspective, that is Saya, even though Saya is, supposedly, well, actually the eldritch creature of the sort. Then it fast forwards to where what's her face, Omi, got killed off because she was trying to explore the house, well, Fuminori's house, because she was trying to give him the piece of the mind. She's gonna like settle in his place, in her place, that is. But unfortunately, she got killed off by the same creature, that is. Because I'm already aware that, Saya is the only one living in the place because she's supposed to wait for Fuminori. And it got genuinely more disturbing because I didn't even expect that, because, I've seen worse because I used to play Corpse Party at the time. And apparently it got revolved to cannibalism because Saya was doing something to the Omi's dead body, and then they played it off as like, oh, they're eating fruit, but overall this is just cannibalism per se. Okay, so let's load it because it's been 2 minutes in. Yeah, I like how the there's a little bit of a flashing, uncanny, colors right there. So we're gonna load save file, yes. So this is where Koji was so Koji had a conversation with Yo, and for Koji, instead of like going home, he decided to like follow Fuminori, what he's doing, and it leads to the missing doctor. Because in all honesty, when it comes to Fuminori, it's like his goal is to like find out the missing doctor, maybe so he can actually cure his condition. I don't know. That's just my guess. Anyway, with relief, Koji exchanges his lighter for the flashlight. Its tiny body emits a powerful white beam that casts away the darkness. His courage restored, he decides to explore the rest of the house. Because, when light illuminates the place, you get a little bit of a boost of morale. Koji notices something strange, something that was not visible in the lighter's weak flame. The slime. Dark, oily stains are everywhere. The stains are especially thick around the doorknobs and stair banisters, like someone grasped them with hands wrapped in greasy cloth. Looking closer, he sees places where slime was splashed low on the walls, almost as if a wet mop was run violently across the floor. Well, was there another creature? Could Ogai have made these marks? If so, how? Koji begins to feel sick as he imagines a man shambling through the house, with slime dripping from his body. I mean, I wonder if it could be worse. When it comes to like Fuminori's house, when Omi tried to explore it, I was going to make an Asmongold reference, and I was like, it's can't be. There's no way it could be. It's similar behavior like that. But anyway, finding the bedroom next to the study, Koji checks the closet on a hunch. He discovers two empty suitcases, not what one would leave behind when going on a long vacation. A sudden chill runs through him. Whoever was living here is still somewhere inside the house. Suppressing their urge to flee, Koji goes back downstairs to check the first floor. If he finds a corpse, he'll have to call the police right away. He might get away with trespassing if he reports it first, but if they find the body later, it'll be awfully hard to explain his fingerprints all over the house. I mean, not to mention the footprints, too. The flashlight reveals the den to be covered in even more slime than the rest of the house. The sofa looks as though it was dredged from the bottom of a swamp. In the kitchen, Koji takes one look at the sink and decides not to get any closer. He doesn't want any more fuel for his imagination. He reaches the door to the bathroom. A common scene from TV dramas flashes through his head. A body with slit wrists floating in a bathtub full of water. And wasn't there a movie where a hitman disposes of his victim in a bathtub filled with lye? Koji embraces himself for the worst and opens the door slowly, then shines his light into the ceramic bathtub that appears from the darkness like a white ghost. Bones. A mountain of bones, black with dry flesh and blood. Koji puts one hand against the wall to steady himself as his legs threaten to buckle. Something is wrong. He realizes as he tries desperately to get his thoughts in order. The bones are too small, and there are too many of them. They aren't human. After taking several deep breaths to calm himself, Koji enters the bathroom and examines the tub. The bones are piled atop each other like fallen leaves. They appear to be from small animals, perhaps cats or dogs. Even so, the quantity is mind-boggling. How many bodies would it take to produce this many bones? The bones have all been separated from one another, so it doesn't look like bodies were just thrown into the tub and left to rot. Each bone is covered with deep grooves. Marks left by teeth biting through flesh. Koji's sanity won't let him consider the possibility that a human could have done this. The owner of this house must have kept some sort of carnivorous animal as a pet, giving it the bones of small animals to eat and disposing of the remains in the bathtub. But why not dispose of the leftovers properly? They could have just been thrown out with the garbage. Or was there something keeping him from leaving the house? The relief Koji felt when he realized that the bones weren't human is once again under attack. In the first place, what the hell was Fuminori doing here?
どうした、コウジ。
Oh shit, he popped out of nowhere. As soon as it happened, it's like he teleported. Oh shit. Well, I don't know about that one. Well, it's over for Koji. Koji whirls around, his light revealing Fuminori's expressionless face.
通報侵入だぞ、コウジ。
Yeah, but you entered the house first, so that's not considered why? How is it trespassing when you did it?
お前だって同じだろうが。
Exactly. I don't see how it's trespassing when you entered first. So if you entered first, then I don't see Why not with Koji? Plus, like, you were his friend at the time. Fuminori pushes past Koji and looks into the bathtub. He doesn't even flinch at the sight of the bones.
僕はこの家の人と知り合いなんだ。頼まれて探し物をしに来ただけさ。知り合いって、いつから？一体何者なんだ？
Koji doesn't want to believe that the old, friendly Fuminori could have had contact with the denizens of this house.
いずれお前にも紹介するよ。僕の恩人とも言える人だから。
You owe her your life.
おい、文則!
Koji runs after Fuminori. His heart is finally beating normally again.
お前まさか、近頃様子がおかしいのは、その知り合いっていうやつのせいなんじゃ。
I mean, it could be a possible reason. Standing in the entrance, Fuminori glares coldly at Koji over his shoulder. The utter lack of emotion in his eyes gives Koji pause.
僕の後をつけてきたんだね、コウジ。
Koji swallows. What can he say?
そういうのは迷惑だ。二度とやらないでもらいたい。
It's like, damn. Well, what happens if you do it again? I mean, you're probably going to get killed off. Fuminori walks away without another word, leaving Koji alone in the entrance. Up until this very moment, concern for his friend was still at the forefront of his mind. Now, however, that concern is swiftly giving way to a growing sense of dread. Does the Fuminori he knew no longer exist? Was the person who just stared Koji down an imposter, wearing Fuminori's skin? Koji has begun to believe that it might be so. The imposter. There's a doppelganger going on. What a nuisance. Why does he insist on interfering? If he only spoke with me to exchange pleasantries, even I could bear it. But now he's sticking his nose into my business just to satisfy his curiosity. Koji is a perfect example of someone who thinks that it's always good to take an interest in other people's affairs. He probably thinks that he's doing me a favor by prying into my life. He couldn't be more wrong. If he keeps this up, I might have to find some way to deal with him. Like Saya said, I had to keep my search for Dr. Ogai's secret. Koji could ruin everything. I didn't have time to fully investigate the Ogai residence today. At this rate, it will probably take several days just to go through the study. Saya didn't believe that I'd find anything to help with the search. But I think there's still a lot to explore. Who knows what I'll discover? The problem is Koji. He knows about the house now. Will he make things difficult? A hair-raising voice calls as I'm about to pass through my gate. Suppressing a shudder, I put on a fake smile and turn to face the writhing mass of rotten flesh that is staring at me with bulging eyes. Yeah, I don't even know what that... What are you trying to... What kind of question is that? Ah, of course. This is my next-door neighbor, Suzumi, a middle-aged painter. I think who spends all day at home while his wife works. I haven't had much contact with him since the accident. Why is he suddenly talking to me now?
Hi. おかげさまで。
Yeah, but here's the thing though, like the whole tragic accident, I don't know, I feel like it's going to take way more than just moving on with your life. I mean, think about it. He got into a fucking tragic car accident with the cost of his parents and, you know, the mental condition, the current condition he's going through. What is this? Did he stop me just to deliver a lecture?
まあそうですね。苦労してます。ええ。でもまだ学生の身ですし、高いには限りがあるんで、そういう浪費はちょっと。
The flesh beast undulates foully, as though it still has something to say. The sight of it is driving me close to the edge. I mean, well, considering his yard is like nothing more than a jungle.
あ、いえ、お構いなく。一人でもなんとかなりますから。
Yeah, well, what happens if I don't tend to my yard? Are you gonna call the cops? Is that why? Now I get it. He's worried that the unsightliness of my house might diminish the image of his own. Damned snob. I flash a token smile, then retreat behind the safety of my gate. I can feel Suzumi's eyes boring into my back all the way to the front door. Why won't everyone stay out of my life? I just want to live together with Saya, alone where no one will ever bother us. Oh, this fucking middle-aged old man. Yeah, I don't know if this applies. I don't know if this even applies to in Japan when it comes to like when it comes to lawn care, but from what I recall in America, like if your lawn grows a little too large or something like that, like I heard they call like a specific like organization or something to like put like where you have to pay like a fine if you don't tend to your lawn. And like I don't really recall the details, but I remember I had a similar conversation like that in a voice chat with a friend. So I'm not really sure. So I don't really understand when it comes to like the country differences when it comes to lawn care. Suzumi Yosuke sighs in annoyance as he watches the neighbor boy retreat into his house. What's with his attitude? Even while talking, he kept his eyes averted, as if to avoid looking at something repulsive. Has he always been such an unpleasant young man? No, of course not. When his parents were still alive, he had been a normal youth, a little shy, but sensitive and caring. It must be the stress of a sad situation. If it continues to build, he might start to develop serious mental problems. Well, no shit, the sad situation. Or is it too late already? Yosuke wonders as he gazes warily at the Sakisaka yard. Even during dinner, Yosuke can't shake the neighboring house from his mind.
どうしたのあなた。難しそうな顔して。
今日ね、隣の家の息子に会ったよ。
お隣のって、文則お兄ちゃん？
ああ、庭のこと一言言っておいた。
そうよね。せめてあの匂いだけはどうにかしてもらいたいわよね。
The stink coming from the Sakisaka house grows worse each day, and the Suzumi family is at its wit's end. Yeah, well, are you really gonna peer into people's business? Like you because we already know what happened to Omi at the top earlier. I don't know. I don't think Suzumi should do something similar like that, and it'll cause like worse consequences. But It's either you mind your own business or you do something about the freaking house that gets before it gets out of control. I don't know. It's debatable, honestly. But this middle-aged man, I don't know. Like, should he mind his own business or should he do something about that? And then he's gonna get like I don't know, killed off or worse.
あの草むらの中に死んだ猫でもいるんじゃないかしら。でも住んでいて気づかないのかしらね、あの匂いに。
まさかとは思うが、生ゴミをそのまま庭に捨てているんじゃあるまいな。
そんな、いくらなんでもそこまで。
That seems like the typical Asmongold behavior and honesty. Okay, that's the second time I'm gonna make that joke. I'm gonna stop.
いや、今の様子だとやりかねん。一日中ずっと雨戸を閉め切って何をやってるのかもわからない。どういう暮らしをしてるのやら。
お兄ちゃん、頭おかしくなっちゃったのかな。
これヒロミ、そういう言い方はダメよ。
Yeah, but she could be right. Could be a good guess.
いや、あれは本当にちょっとどうすぎてる。ひょっとしたら変質狂か何かかもしれんな。
大丈夫なのそれ。
早く自覚して医者にでも言ってもらわんことにはなんともな。
Okay, so the middle-aged guy who's the neighbor is married to the wife and so he does have like family to tend to, like his wife and his daughter. But the thing is, like, he's going to be nosy with that shit. But it's kind of, this visual novel is a little bit concerning right here because, like, if he tries to find out and go on his own to investigate, he's going to get screwed over. And it could be worse for his. So maybe he can. Maybe those three could have just like move out of the fucking house. Well, here's the thing though. Any reader would obviously know that the Fuminori's house is like all cursed with shit like this. But humans like outside of a Fuminori's perspective doesn't know that. Other than like unless they see like the slime of some eldritch monster or whatnot. So that being said, could get worse. The seconds crawl by, each tick of the clock compounding my agony. When I returned from the Ogai residence, I was greeted by a silent, empty home. Saya had vanished without leaving any clue as to her whereabouts. It isn't rare for her to go for walks at night. I've often gone with her, however, such outings always take place in the middle of the night, when no one is around and never last for more than 2 hours. Seconds crawl by, each tick of the clock compounding my agony. Alright. Right now, it's 5 in the morning. Soon the sky will begin to show the first light of dawn. Even if she left right before I returned, she's still been gone for almost half a day. I can't sleep. I can only wait in anguish. I tried to distance myself by painting more rooms, but I couldn't concentrate on the work. Excuse me. If I hadn't known this would happen, I would have left the Ogai house sooner. I wish I hadn't wasted time on Koji. If Saya doesn't return, the thought makes me want to tear out my hair. After its long absence, the terror of true loneliness is too much to bear. At last, the cowbell chimes and Saya's long-awaited "I'm home" rings out from the bottom of the stairs. As I jump out of my bed in relief, all of the stress that has built up through the night is released in a wave that threatens to sweep me off my feet.
はあ、疲れた。やっぱり往復すると遠いな。
Saya sighs as she climbs the stairs. I knew the trip would be hard.
さや、一体どこに？
Yeah, where the fuck have you been? I mean, why am I asking that question? It's an eldritch monster. Saya could go out in the air and like murder another victim. My question trails off as I notice the thick bundles of paper that she's carrying under her arms.
それは？
文則のカルテとか手術の記録。今日は古巣の病院に行ってきたの。
Medical charts and surgery records. Saya drops her bundles on the floor, sending paper flying everywhere, then pulls her favorite cushion over and collapses into it, stretching luxuriously.
こんな夜中に T 台から歩いて戻ってきたのか。
ごめんね。本当はもっと早く帰れると思ってたんだけど、調べ出したらキリがなくて。
Sorry, she says, skillfully gathering the scattered papers together. I meant to come back sooner, but there are so many files to go through.
結局全部持ち出してきちゃった。ああ、重かった。
Maybe it's just the exhaustion, but I'm not understanding a word Saya is saying.
だから、そんなもの持ってきてどうするつもりなんだ？
どうするって、もちろん調べるのよ。うちで時間かけてじっくり。
I mean, the way you're saying from like going back all the way from to the hospital to it back, you know, to his house with all the medical charts and personal information, you know, it does seem a little bit skeptical there. What do you mean? I'm going to study, of course, she replies, holding one MRI photograph after another up to the light. I'll have plenty of time to go over it here.
あら、何やってんだか。あ、これは要チェックかな。
At first,
あとは、そうなんだ。なんだかな。
At first, I think she's just playing around, but the occasional mutters of, better check this one. Oh, I see. Well, that was silly of him. And the like as she separates photos into a growing pile beside her make me think that this might not be a joke after all.
君、わかるのか？こういうの。
パパにいろいろと教わったから。なるほどね。そういうこと。
I learned a lot from Dad. She flashes me a grin, then returns to the papers. So that's how it is.
これじゃあいつまで経っても直せないよね。
No wonder it can't be fixed.
直せないのか？
人間のお医者さんじゃね。
I can't tell if she's being sarcastic or serious.
私でもまだちょっと難しいかな。いろいろと試してからでないと。
Even for me, it'll probably be tough, she says offhandedly. See, that's weird. Like, the voices will start, but there will be words I have to read, and then I have to read the whole thing. Because of the quotation marks per se. Even for me, it'll probably be tough, she says offhandedly. Even as her hands continue to shuffle papers, I'll have to experiment first. Watching more closely, I realize that her eyes are scanning each page rapidly, so rapidly, in fact, that I was unable to notice it at first. Could Saya actually be reading my charts?
なあ、さや。
Yeah, she answers coolly, looking up from the charts.
今日はもう疲れたし、寝ないか？
文則がそうしたいならそうする。
Sure, Saya replies with a grin, if that's what you want. Oh boy. Are we gonna get to this scene again? Oh no, it's gonna go to this fucking scene again. Oh fucking hell. See, I thought the first scene has something to do with like a plot as to why, you know, Saya has an interest in him. But unfortunately, Fuminori was the one who, you know, who gave her the offer to stay by the house in exchange for searching for the missing doctors. So, well, that's gonna be something else. Saya tosses aside the paper she was sorting, then leaps on me and begins to tear off my clothes.
おい、
ねえ、寝る前に一回だけ。ね、い
Oh,
いでしょ？
oh, god damn it. And here, it's 30 minutes in, and then this man is gonna be at that moment already? Jesus. Contrary to her parents, Saya's appetite for sex would put any adult to shame. You could even say it's a little unnatural. She's not just passionate, she also has unlimited stamina, making me wonder where her slender body gets all the energy. Never satisfied with... Well, she's an eldritch creature. I mean, she's a creature. What do you expect? What do you mean she had all unlimited stamina? Never satisfied with letting me feast on her to my heart's content. She always uses me to pleasure herself until I'm forced to tap out.
マサヤ、こう毎日続けてちゃ体に毒じゃないのか？
え、ふみのり、どこか具合が悪いの？
Yeah, I had COVID or some shit. I was going out. And that's from, you know, going out and whatnot. I don't fucking know. I'm just being fucking random right now.
いや、僕は別にちゃんと大人の体になってるし平気なんだけど、でもサヤはまだ。
平気だよ。
She laughs playfully as she pushes me onto the bed, the familiar sweet sensation of her weight and skin rendering me helpless.
平気なわけないだろ。今まで否認もしてないってのに。
Contraption? Contraception? To my astonishment, Saya is completely uninterested in safe sex. She doesn't just eschew protection, she even insists that I ejaculate inside of her. Surely she must know the risks, which can only mean that she wants to get pregnant.
ふみのりはさ、さやに子供産ませるの嫌？
Fuminori, she whispers, staring straight into my eyes. You don't want me to have your children? Shit. How can I respond to that?
いやも何も。サヤみたいに小さい体じゃ無理だって。母体の負担ってのは大変なんだぞ。
ふみのりが心配してることって割と的外れなんだけど。
Saya seems unsure how to reply, but not because she doesn't understand what I said. Rather, the bemused look on her face makes it seem as though I'm the one not getting it.
でもそれってふみのりがさやのことを大事に思ってくれてるからなんだよね。それはそれで嬉しい。
But I know you're just thinking of me, she says suddenly, her smile glowing with innocence, so I'm happy. Oh, God. By the time I break the spell of her angelic smile, Saya has undone my belt and is removing my pants. Oh shit. This is this is like the one meme from the Grand Theft San Andreas CJ. Oh shit. Here we go again.
なおい。だからサヤ。
Fucking hell.
大丈夫。じゃあ今夜はふみのりが心配しないような方法でしてあげる。
Relax, she says teasingly as she bares my crotch and wraps her slender white fingers around my penis and testicles. Tonight, I'll do it so you don't have to worry. Oh, fucking hell. See, I knew that was gonna happen. And the thing is, like, I thought the first scene, I thought it was I can get a question as to why, you know, you know, Saya was interested in him, or Fuminori interested in Saya, but I already know how the backstory, turned out. So the feeling of her willowy, unblemished fingers embracing me is enough to fill me with twisted ecstasy and draw out my male instinct. Seeing my response, Saya brings her face to my groin and lovingly wraps her lips around the head of my penis. My hips jerk involuntarily at the unexpected intense shock of her sucking hard on such a sensitive area.
痛かった？
She asks, looking timidly up at me as she soothingly strokes my shaft.
大丈夫。
Where did Saya learn how to pleasure a man so well? I can't believe the precision and skill of her ministrations. Her sinuous fingers are like snakes coiled around my manhood, their sensual undulations drawing desire forth from my loins. As if all 10 of her fingers weren't enough to drown me in pleasure, next she adds her lips and tongue. The mind-blowing pleasure from this new stimulation instantly threatens to push me over the edge. A damp heat, different from that of her womb, presses down on me from all directions. Looking down, I see my lust filling her tiny mouth, stretching the graceful lines of her cheeks and jaw so far that I fear she might break. The sight makes me worry that she's pushing herself too hard, but her tongue continues to devour me like a kitten, desperately sucking on her mother's teat. As I watch, I begin to feel like I'm violating Saya's innocent, unsullied face. The feeling of breaking a taboo further increases my perverted ecstasy. In every man lurks the dark desire to spoil that which is beautiful. Saya's bewitching body, able to drive me mad every night, is perfectly designed to draw out such savage lusts.
さや。
Oh my god, this sound is just going non-stop, isn't it? I can't hold it anymore. I'll come any second now. But where? When the moment comes, what will I do with this thing in Saya's mouth?
おい。だ。もう出ちゃうって。
I try to pull out, but Saya doesn't let me. She grabs my thighs and doubles the intensity of her sucking, as if she's trying to pull me even deeper into her throat. I'm worried about her, but my body is at this limit. As irresistible waves of pleasures sweep away my willpower, I unleash my pent-up seed deep into Saya's throat. What have I done? I feel panic rise within me. Regardless of the situation, I shouldn't have ejaculated into her mouth. What if she chokes on it? Saya, however, pays no heed to my distress. Still clinging to my waist like a predator unwilling to relinquish its prey, she starts swallowing effortlessly, like someone dying of hunger. What is she swallowing? The answer is obvious. Every last drop of the passion that I just disgorged into her mouth. This is the first time I've ever had a girl do this to me. To be honest, I'm speechless with shock. I've always been prejudiced against fellatio, thinking it to be something that perverted, sadistic men force women to do, but Saya...
美味しかったよ、ふみのり。
She looks up at me, answering my confusion by smiling like she just pulled the greatest prank of her life. Her small tongue darts out from her lips to lick away the last milky remnants around her mouth. That tongue was just licking my... The thought sends a worrying jolt of pleasure to my brain.
これだったら、ふみのりだって心 ないでしょ。
いや、まあ。
You know, there's a reason why, I don't do visual novels on stream because of shit like this where I have to like censor shit out. What am I supposed to say to that?
ねえ、ダメだった？こういうのだと気持ちよくない？
Hearing the sudden nervousness in Saya's voice, I hastily stammer.
そんなことない。十分に良かった。
It felt so good that I thought I'd go crazy, but I can't say that, can I?
でもさや、何もあんなもの飲み込まなくたって。
そんな。あれはさやにちょうだいよ。
Suddenly distraught, Saya clings to me like a child who's just had her candy stolen.
ふみのりのは一滴だって残さずに欲しい。さやの中に出してほしいの。
中にって。
So Saya really does want to bear my child. I'm not adverse to the idea. I still think it might be too early, of course, but there isn't much point of worrying about my reputation now. Assuming that Saya and I will be left alone, I even welcome it. However, that only explains her appetite for normal sex. I still don't know why she wants to swallow, of all things. What? Does Saya want to create her own utopia? or cause like some sort of eldritch dystopia or whatnot? Well, I suppose that what's impure or taboo, quote unquote, differs from person to person, and I can't simply apply normal values to Saya.
ふみのりは嫌？
Pretty sure you two have like differing ideologies. She gazes up at me pleadingly. How can I resist?
嫌なんかじゃないさ。さやさえそれでいいのなら、僕だって。
Saya smiles with relief and burrows contently into my chest.
ふみのり大好き。
She purrs softly. With her body draped over mine, I become even more aware of how light and delicate she is. Can this tiny girl and I really live as husband and wife? I feel a pang of self-loathing at the question. How can I still be afraid after all that's happened? Saya's feelings are so earnest. How can I not accept them? I need to resolve once and for all to rid myself of the useless trappings of morality. Yeah, you're gonna lose your sense of morality right there. I'm pretty sure you already did with the first scene. Saya and I are all that matters. There's no point in worrying about what others think anymore. Although I suppose I should still talk to Saya's guardian, of course. I need to find Dr. Ogai as soon as possible. ASAP. By the time I drift to sleep in exhaustion's comforting embrace, all doubts about Saya's actions have vanished from my mind. Whatever the case, all that matters is that she's returned to me. Jesus fuck. Okay. Well, that's gonna be fucking amusing. 2 o'clock. For Suzumi Yosuke, this is the most fulfilling time of day. After seeing his wife and daughter off, taking care of the morning chores, and eating a leisurely lunch, it's finally time to sit down at his easel. He's not a particularly popular painter, and he would only hold an exhibition if he were hurting for money. However, the design work he does on the side ensures that there's always enough to support his lifestyle. Alongside the salary his wife earns, working for a magazine, they're able to pay their mortgage, send their daughter to school, and still have plenty left over. Yosuke's life is perfect, leisurely and absent of want. He loves his house, considering it the symbol of his success. When he mows the lawn, polishes the windows and floors, and cleans the kitchen, toilet, and bath, he feels the same joy as he does when washing his own body, just as he knows the length of his fingernails and the time since his last meal. He also knows everything about his home's condition, the status of every door, the freshness of every flower, the amount of ice in the ice tray, every last detail. This is his pride, and when he sits in his studio, smelling their turpentine and knowing that each element of his house is in perfect order, he feels the ultimate satisfaction. So, what the fuck? So, Suzumi Yosuke, are you telling me that he's a germaphobe? Because I can tell, judging by like when he was trying to talk to Fuminori, that Fuminori's house is all like looking like a jungle, and the inside of his house is all messed up. Well, more than messed up, that is. Because we already know what happened to Omi. While trying to find the right combination of plants on this palette, he suddenly feels thirsty, but soon remembers that there isn't much orange juice left in the refrigerator. In fact, it's also about time to stock up on bath additive and powdered soap. He could get everything at the supermarket when he goes to shop for dinner, but it will probably be quite heavy. I do like the background for the thumbnail though, but okay. Oh boy. I bet if he tries to go outside, then he's gonna be pissed about the fucking smell next door from the neighbor. Now then, where should I leave off to go shopping? As he ponders this dilemma, he heads downstairs to the kitchen. Just then, a breath of air tickles the back of his neck, bringing him to a halt in the middle of the hallway. A breeze. Impossible. Every window in the house is closed. Yosuke shut them himself during his morning cleaning. Yosuke enters the living room, searching for the source of the breeze. Something stinks. It's the same pungent smell of fetid swampland that emanates from the Sakisaka house. The window facing the yard next door is open, its curtains billowing loosely in the gentle breeze. Wait, so if he already closed the window, but who opened the window then? There's a hole in the glass next to the lock. It looks strange, like it was melted by some chemical instead of broken. Someone must have reached through the window. Someone must have reached through the hole to unlock the window. Yosuke stands paralyzed, his heart pounding with anger and fear. He listens carefully but hears nothing. Perhaps the intruder has already finished his business and left, but a burglar wouldn't have left the room untouched, would he? Maybe he heard Yosuke coming and hid somewhere nearby. Yosuke realizes that his still wet palette knife is in his right hand. He must have forgotten to put it aside before going downstairs. He stares numbly at the knife for a moment, then decides that it's not enough protection. Instead, he grabs the ashtray sitting on top of the table, made of thick, solid glass. It is big and heavy enough to serve as a weapon. The home that he thought of as part of himself now seems utterly alien. Keenly aware of the thumping of his heart, Yosuke looks around the living room and sees little that could be used as a hiding place. The intruder must have gone either to the guest room or through the dining room to the kitchen. The kitchen is close to the stairs. If there had been movement, Yosuke would have noticed it when he came down, which means that the guest room is the most likely place. He shuffles over to the guest room door and prepares to slide it open. But what is that stench? Could the breeze alone carry something so foul? It's as if the odor is coming from inside the room. He readies his ashtray and throws open the door. The straw-matted Japanese-style room is empty. There is a closet, but no one could fit in there. So the intruder already left. Yosuke relaxes, the exhaustion of sudden relief coming from over him. And that is when something seizes his ankle. Oh, fuck. Okay, so he didn't, peer into someone's business like that. Okay, but how did the creature... Is this Saya's minion? Or is Saya doing all the... Or is Saya the one responsible for this shit? Seizes his ankle. The instant he freezes in shock, his leg is yanked out from under him, sending him crashing to the floor. Stars explode behind his eyes as his head smacks against the door rail. The hand, if it can even be called that, wrapped around Yosuke's ankle extends all the way back to beneath the living room sofa. There are barely 5 centimeters between the sofa and the floor. Whatever is hiding there, it can't possibly be human. Before the screaming Yosuke can regain his footing, countless hand-like appendages seize his arms and legs, rendering him helpless. As the hideous voice burbles in his ear, something cold and soft crawls atop him. Yosuke can't even scream. His terror is so great. Thin, tube-like appendages penetrate his ears and nose, wriggling deep into his skull. Right before the sensation drives him mad, Yosuke loses consciousness. Oh, great. Let me guess. He got possessed? Whatnot? Thank you for taking the time to see it, Koji says, his humble bow concealing his surprise at the doctor's youth. Even without her light makeup, she wouldn't look a day over 30. She must be quite talented to be a leading neurosurgeon at such a young age.
いいのよ。あなたたちみたいな人が来てくれたのは私としてもありがたいところだし。
Well, that last scene with fucking Suzumi was very unfortunate. See, here's the thing though, like, if Suzumi and his family is taken care of, so concerned over the smell, you would think he would, have like a backup plan to like move out of the neighborhood, but no, he just decides to stay, and I don't know how that happened, but it just tends to. Oh shit! I was like, what the fuck? Don't mention it. I was hoping somebody like you would come along. Her friendly smile has none of the coldness one might expect from her sharp, refined beauty.
はじめまして。崎坂文則くんの主治医の丹保です。
文則の友人で殿尾浩二と言います。彼女は筑波陽。
Yo gives a quick bow, her expression apologetic. When they arrived at the T University Medical Center and asked to see Fuminori's doctor, Koji and Yo had been prepared for rejection. They hadn't expected the ease with which their request was granted.
崎坂くんの件について話が聞きたいっていうことだけど、 それは私の方でも同じでね。
Obviously.
は
What?
彼、一昨日の診察に来てくれなかったのよ。留守電に入れた伝言にも返事がないし。
Oh, shit, 2 days ago. God damn. 2 days ago, the same day Fuminori was searching that abandoned house. Koji frowns, wondering what was important enough for him to blow off his appointment.
彼、学校ではどんな様子？
Good question.
どうもこうも。もうめちゃくちゃです。
Well, no shit. Seeing Yo's shoulders jerk out of the corner of his eye, Koji regrets not choosing his words more carefully.
事故の前とまるで人が違ったみたいに見えます。僕たちもいろいろとどうしていいかわからなくて、それで今日は先生の話を伺えたらと。
あなたたちも医大生？
Well, see, yeah, but even though Koji and Yo are supposed to be like medical students, it's still, it ain't gonna stop them from, you know, asking for like, you know, additional help, you know.
はい。
Just because they're medical students doesn't mean they know everything.
彼のカルテ見てみたいと思う。
見せてくれるんですか、そんなもの。
Koji replies, incredulous. Dr.
そう
Tanbo
思った人がいるみたいなのよ。それも病院には無断でね。
Dr. Tanbo regards him silently for a moment, then sighs and says, someone wanted to see it, and without the hospital's permission.
一昨日の晩、この病院に誰かが押し入ってね。保管庫から咲坂くんのカルテを盗んでいったの。
Gee, I wonder who to be.
本当ですか？
She stares hard at the astonished students, then shakes her head with a tired smile.
まあ、あなたたちは無関係そうね。ちょっと安心したわ。
当たり前です。
I don't know about that one.
でも、犯人は咲坂くんの容体に興味があるか、それとも彼の治療記録を消したかったのか。
Culprit?
いずれにせよ、彼に関わりのある人間としか思えないわ。
Oh. I see. An ominous thought flashes through Koji's mind. It couldn't have been Fuminori himself, could it? Koji looks at Dr. Tanbo and finds her staring right back at him, her expression grave. He realizes that she must be harboring the same suspicion.
あなたには他に心当たりはない？咲坂くんの知り合いでそういうことをやりかねないような人。
Perhaps Dr. Tanbo didn't have anyone in mind when she asked, but Koji's thoughts immediately fly to that eerie house to which Fuminori led him.
知り合いだか何なのか自分にもよくわからないんですが、多分医者か医学関係の人で、鴎外っていう。
Koji stops speaking as he sees the dramatic change that has come across Dr. Tanbo's expression.
ご存知なんですか？
咲坂くんがその男といつどうやって知り合ったのかわかる？
いえ、こっちが知りたいぐらいです。先生、一体何者なんですか？あの鴎外っていう人は。
After remaining silent for some time, Dr. Tanbo loses a heavy sigh.
いいわ。その気になれば簡単に調べがつくことだし。大貝正彦はうちの大学にいた教授よ。いろいろと不祥事があって半年以上前に免職になったけど。
Well, considering how Koji is starting his own personal investigation, what's going on with Koji, Fuminori and whatnot, I don't see why not.
不祥事って一体何を？
Yeah, what did he do?
そこから先は部外者に話せることじゃないわ。どのみち、崎坂君には何の関係もないことよ。
Koji has no argument with which to answer Dr. Tanbo's flat rejection. However, he can't shake the feeling that this Ogai person is the key to unraveling the mystery surrounding Fuminori.
先生、もしかしたら崎坂文則は刑事事件に関わっているかもしれないんです。
Doctor, he says, making up his mind, Fuminori might be involved in a crime. At this sudden declaration, both Yo and Dr. Tanbo raised their eyebrows.
どういうこと？
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
彼を訪ねていったっきり行方不明になってしまった人間がいます。もちろん文則は否定していますが。
それって大見ちゃんのこと？
Well, yeah, I mean, oh, you're going to be shocked to see what happened to Omi. Koji is unable to bear the shock in Yo's voice.
すまん、つくば。君には言えなかった。
Dr. Tanbo is frowning, her expression even more serious than before.
その大貝という人物が今文則の関心の焦点になっているらしいんです。彼が何者で文則が彼の何について探っているのか、それが分かれば少しは事情が見えてくるかもしれません。お願いです先生、教えてください。この病院で一体何があったんですか？
Dr. Tanbo hesitates for some time, refusing to make eye contact, but she finally shakes her head.
ごめんなさい。こればかりは私の一存で話せる事柄じゃないの。
Well,
先生。
でも少しだけ待って。私は私なりにいろいろと調べてみる。放っておける状況じゃないのはよく理解できたから。
お願いします。
Koji is out of options. All that's left is to trust this young doctor. It's frustrating, but a friend's rights only goes so far.
お互い携帯の番号を交換しておきましょう。何か分かったら連絡するわ。あなたたちも何か新しい動きがあったらすぐに私に教えて。
Well,
ええ、わかりました。
finally, the plot drivens a little bit more further. Okay. Hello? Why did the screen froze? Something wrong with this visual novel. Well, I think the game broke per se. Gee. Oh. Okay. Well, I think it's a good time to stop it from here. Yeah, oh god, this is not... Yeah, I think this is a pretty bad spot to go on a cliffhanger, if anything. So yeah, let's save it here. So we're gonna save here, and plus I can lock the save, right? Yeah, let's lock it. So I don't have to, like, mess around with that stuff like that. All right, so what have we learned from this part right here? There's the next door neighbor who goes by Suzumi, and he has a wife and kid. And unfortunately, he kind of, I don't know if his upbringing was caused all because he was being nosy with his, with Fuminori's house, or that he didn't really make the decision of taking his family and moving out of the neighborhood. And that's, supposedly his fault that caused him to be, like, consumed by the creature. And plus, Koji has started, some sort of investigation of what's going on with his friend and whatnot. And that's, oh boy, just wait till Koji and Yo see what happened to Omi. Yeah, but that's about from here. It's something else. All right, that being said, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.